Hi everybody and welcome to this Pro and Expert playthrough video featuring the new hole locations on the Koh Hong Resort course for the Koh Hong Resort 9-hole cup here on the channel. If you're new here, very warm welcome. Please all hit the thumbs up, it helps me out massively, and make sure you're subscribed as well, totally free to do so. Also, share this video with your clanmates. Hopefully it will help you improve at the game. Replays and adjustments for all 9 holes with these new hole locations shown as well, so you can have a first look at them and decide what you need to do based on my suggestions, and there are alternatives mentioned in the video if you don't like any of the shots, how we might want to approach these new pin positions. There will be expert guide videos for qualifying and final round on the channel when the tournament begins, so check back and get yourself some much needed drops in this 9-hole cup. Let's get started then with hole number 1. Hole number 1, we're going to be playing the usual way here, even with a new pin location. So we will need a good amount of topspin and right spin to bounce over the bunkers if we have crosswind or tailwind. So here I'm going 6 topspin, 3 right spin, leaving myself room from the rough here. And this drive I usually play max plus 10, maximum distance 10% elevation. If there is severe headwind, then we're going to be laying up with the quarterback or the rock and approaching with the grizzly instead. So bear in mind all of these approaches and the spins and the adjustments may need to vary depending what wind angle and strength you have, but this is a good example of the general shot I like to play if the wind is decent on this par 4. Approaching the edge of the rough there is going to leave us with a short iron shot for the eagle, and you can see here I apply 2 bars of right spin to get around any glitch spots bouncing up before the green, and 1 bar of backspin, finding the maximum distance line of the club. I'm playing this one true club distance, that is TC on the notepad. So estimate where you are between min and max and adjust the slider accordingly. It's going to be around 80% slider as a guide, but always check the distance yourself. And if you're playing in the tournament, of course, you can build up a plus yard reference using a fringe check as well. So 10% elevation on this approach shot. Like I said, if we can play this route on the drive with the top spin, you're going to be in between mid and max with the thorn. Just needed a little bit of a tweak there, but a good chance even with the new pin location for the eagle on hole number 1. Now for this first par 3, the new pin location has made it even more difficult than it used to be. There is a rough bump that you can play here, but for the general playthrough I wanted to show something a little bit more accessible. As you can see, you'll be playing on the rough bump over the bunker in line with the pin. It's very, very thin strip of rough and there's a huge amount of elevation to deal with. So here is the standard bounce up shot, going to be between 4 and 5 bars of backspin and 3 bars side spin to the right. And you want to bounce in the middle of the fairway. Here with this crosswind I'm adjusting max distance 30% elevation. You might need slightly more in different wind angles. Very tough drop even with the rough bump. You will need a few tokens to get dialed in and wind angle tweaks. We're just skipping over the right edge of the hole with the bounce up. The bounce up is the way to go if you want the safe birdie. There is a chance of dropping the hole in one, of course, as well, but you will need to tweak and take a token or two. Very difficult par 3 and an even tougher pin location here on this tournament. On the 3rd hole, the first par 5, we're going to play the drive as we normally would, and that is with 6 bars of top spin, and I'm going with 2 bars of right spin here to counter the wind, which is going from right to left. If you've got a straight tailwind or a straight headwind, usually 1 bar of right spin is enough. Adjust this one maximum distance 20% elevation. If you're playing into direct tailwind, if you've got tailwind behind you, I would just back up the landing position a little bit in case you land directly into the rough. But 20% elevation, you can see just from that picture there, does play quite a lot downhill. So the top spin is important. We want to try and get distance here, but obviously if you've only got 4.5 bars of top spin, you could try that, or you could try the big topper, but of course you will need to hit perfect if you're using that club. You want a decent length of drive around 370 to 390 yards here. Second shot, the rough bump, as you can see, we're very close to max distance of club. If you've got a power 5 ball, you could try the rough bump here, but it is trickier. The pin is further away with this location. So I'm finding that little sticky spot. You could see there was a spot there where the second bounce really didn't move much at all. So I'm finding the middle of that. Then I'm adding spins according to the wind direction. Here I'm going with 1 bar backspin and a little bit of left spin because I want the tip of the ball guide to be right of the hole and slightly short, because the wind push is going to give me the rest. Obviously, if you're playing into headwind, you'd want the ball guide slightly through the hole. True club distance, 15% elevation here, so find the min line, find the max line. General play style here, that would be what I would go with. More information on true club distance, min, mid and max, and using the slider on the Academy tutorial playlist. Just burning the left edge for a decent look. Like I said, my recommendation there, if you don't want to go for the rough bump, is to find that sticky spot and bounce down with spins according to your wind angle here on this par 5. Hole number 4 was a lovely chance to drop for a hole-in-one, and it still is a good chance with tailwind. Any form of headwind is going to be much more difficult though, because you can't play the sniper backspin shot you'd have to try with the Guardian on the downslope. But here we've got cross tailwind, going with 3 left spin and a little bit of top spin, and going with the Grizzly for the ball guide. Then you can see I'm zooming in and I'm intentionally leaving the ball guide short because we're rolling down a slope, and also to the right of pin because the wind going right to left is going to carry us closer to the pin. So this one is going to be a decent chance in crosswind or tailwind. Like I said, any headwind, that backspin shot with the sniper on the downslope, because the pin is nearer the tee, that is going to be much more difficult, and you're probably going to need to go with the Guardian. Perfect ball away, max plus 20 is the adjustment, bouncing very nicely there. The left spin and the top spin does the rest of the work, and we drop for a hole-in-one here on hole number 4. Quick break here to remind you all of the season finale party stream this Sunday, that is the 20th of November. It's already scheduled. Find it on the channel homepage, set your reminders. It is a brilliant interactive stream. You can submit your feedback. We can have a chat about the last season. There's loads of things to talk about. So register your feedback so that I can take it to the team over at Playdemic to help keep this game really fun and to put some improvements in that you will want to see. Loads to talk about, including Checkpoint Challenge and the tournaments we've been playing on as well. So I'll see you there this coming Sunday in the evening, UK time. Looking forward to it. Hole number 5, there's a couple of ways you can play this. You can play it dead ahead and go for a long iron approach, which is massively downhill, or you can lay up to the right-hand side as I do here. 4.5 top spin, 3 bars side spin to the right. I'm not setting up at max distance because we've got headwind, but I am going with the extra mile so that I'm leaving myself room to adjust without needing overpower. So yellow ring touching the rough at +4. If you've got tailwind, you can play with the rock for ball guide and accuracy, but even in any wind angle, I will be going max +15 as a general rule, sometimes even max +20. Depends what wind angle you've got. Half a ball of curl to the right, just to counter the wind, which would have pushed me otherwise to the left. And we're hitting perfect. And with this approach, we want to go into the shadow towards the rough on the left. Like I said, if you don't want to go this way, you can play to the left-hand side and go for the long iron from distance. But here we've got a good chance with the sniper. If you don't fancy the rough bump, you can play a standard bounce up instead. But the rough bump, I think, is a very good chance. And you can play actually nearer the green with this new pin location. 2 bars right spin and either top spin or back spin depending on the wind strength and wind angle. Ball guide to the hole with this crosswind, and I'm going true club distance, 5% elevation, so I'm using my landing position plus yards to work out my slider value. Making our adjustment here, so +4, depending on the club you've got, it's going to be around 80% on the slider, 5% elevation, perfect ball away, and this one lands in the rough very nicely. We're not threatening the fairway or the sand, just missing on the right edge, so just a tweak needed there, but that gives you an example of the type of shot you might want to play here on this par 4. Hole number 6 actually presents a better chance for an albatross for those that like the rough bump, and I'm going to show you that one right now. Going with a power 5 ball doesn't have to be a luminary. You can do this with a berserker in pro, well, and in even expert as well. But we're going with 6 bars of topspin, aiming at max distance. We're using the APOC 4 just to show you that you can get an albatross with a lower level APOC. Extra mile 8 would work as well. Extra mile 7 might need a little bit of pushing up and overpower. You don't have 6 bars of topspin. But either way, on this drive, I want distance. Max plus 10 is the adjustment. Don't need to push up in this wind angle. You might need to if you have a lower level club or a power 3 ball. I would definitely be pushing up to max. But of course, you've got to tweak depending what wind angle and wind strength and equipment that you're using. Max plus 10, and a perfect ball here gets a nice drive distance, 393 yards. And to go with a rough bump, you really do need a good distance on your drive. If you don't want to go with the rough bump, bounce up as you normally would and get on the green safely for the eagle. But here, a very good chance, and I'm going to play with 1 bar of right spin and a little bit of top spin, around 2 bars. With tailwind, I want to leave the ball guide short of pin by 1 green square. Crosswind, I would go ball guide to the pin. And headwind, if you have room to adjust, ball guide slightly through the hole. Playing this one, true club distance, 0 elevation. So as you can see from the plus yards, I'm about 7 yards away from max distance of club. So I take 2.5% off max per yard. So I'm playing this one. It's going to be around 80 to 85% slider. You can use the landing position plus yards, or you could just estimate yourself, finding max distance line and min. Catches the rough very nicely. I need to tweak the pull angle here, but it just shows you the type of shot you want to play. With the pin being where it is now with this new pin location modifier, brings it close to the rough, better chance for the albatross if you want to play aggressively on hole 6. Hole number 7, once again, you can play a bounce over shot. You can play out to the left-hand side as well, but the best chance for the eagle comes with the rough bump. I'm going to use the rock here, even with headwind. I'm going to set up here with a clear ring touching the rough at plus 6, and I'm going to go with 3.9 topspin, 1 bar right spin. That is max topspin with the rock level 7. You can use the extra mile if you don't have the rock level 7 though. Start points would vary with different level of club, but I like the rock for the ball guide and the accuracy because we want to get to the top left corner of this fairway. Max plus 10 is the adjustment, takes me just into overpower, so I'm going to add a couple of clicks on, but nothing really very much needed at all. Perfect ball away. Direct headwind, I would recommend you go with a kingmaker, and in expert, you're going to want to go with a kingmaker every time. Drive distance is going to be around 325 to 330 yards. Like I said, if you don't want to play the rough bump here, bounce over instead, but the rough bump is a good chance, and with that drive distance means I can play rings from min. So I'm finding the min line, pack the grizzly to find it easier, and count up the number of rings until your top of the yellow ring is touching the rough. In the video here, it was 7 rings from the min line, so I'm going to play this one according to rings from min table. It's going to be around 17% slider, I believe. Adding spin as shown, leaving the ball guide intentionally to the right of the pin because the wind is going from right to left, and then the elevation is 5%. So rings from min plus 5% elevation. If you're playing into headwind, of course, you will need to adopt your spins accordingly so that you would have the ball guide through the hole to counter any headwind push. Catches the rough very nicely, and with the 5% elevation we just drop that one nicely in there for the eagle. So the rough bump is the best chance. Obviously it's not the only way to play. If you prefer to bounce over or go the left hand side, then you can do so as well. Hole number 8, the notoriously tricky and inconsistent par 3, and it is no easier with this new pin location, unfortunately. Navigator in Pro is all I would recommend spending. This is very tough to dial in, so I just think a navigator is fine. In expert, of course, you're going to want a kingmaker, but I'm going with 1 bar left spin, intentionally putting the ball guide to the left of the pin in this wind angle because the wind is going to push us dramatically to the right. Max plus 30 on this one, max plus 30 in headwind. It's going to be very, very difficult even to play the quarterback backspin shot from between the bunker and the green because the pin is obviously moved and you may not have the backspin. This is going to be a very difficult hole in any wind angle, and quite honestly, just to get it this close is a result. Do I want to spend many tokens on it? Probably not, but I do want a significantly safe route to near the pin for a birdie. So max plus 30 plays massively downhill on this tricky par 3. After that very tricky par 3, the good news is hole 9 gives you a decent chance at the albatross. Going with the rock and a kingmaker, 3.9 topspin, 3 left spin. Once again, if you don't have the rock in this level, play this one with the extra mile. And in headwind, you will need to go with the extra mile, Thor's Hammer or Apocalypse, because you will need distance. But I like the rock if we can use it, because it gives us good accuracy. Max plus 10 spins as shown. I stretch out with the rock level 7 to find my landing spot into 2 rings of overpower, just to compensate for the lack of distance. If you've got rock 8 or 9, you won't need to do that. Once I've adjusted with my max plus 10 adjustment, I push up the 2 rings and then take my shot. Don't need any overpower here, just a nice perfect ball. Minor great left, minor great right will be fine with the rock, which is why it's nice to use on this drive. I would recommend always going with the kingmaker in any headwind though. With a less accurate club, great left may result in sand and great right could roll into the rough, but a good drive there will get us to that drive distance. Second shot, we're going to be playing with the sniper in most wind angles, and even with a sniper level 9, got a good chance at the drop. Backing up from max distance, and I want here the ball guide to be around 4 green squares short of the pin, otherwise you're going to roll too long. The pin, as you can see, is further left than it used to be, and a little bit nearer from what I remember, and it's slightly less glitchy. Playing a no spin shot here, or a little bit of top spin, depending if you're short on your drive, you might want to add a little bit more top spin or a bit more backspin. It all depends on the outcome of your drive and how far you want to push it. But you want to leave the ball guide short, playing true club distance, 5% elevation in this wind angle. I will go 10 in crosswind. And here we're going to be around 90 to 95% slider if you're a couple of yards away from max. And you can see there the speed is great, the line is good with that little offset to compensate for the wind, and we drop it for an albatross. So a very decent opportunity to finish on hole 9. Thank you very much for watching this video about the Koh Hong Resort 9-hole cup here on the channel. Finally, please join us over on Facebook. Search for BK Golf Clash. Join our free group. Over 11,000 members. There is free guides. There is shot sharing. There are discussion points. It's a brilliant opportunity to interact not only with me but loads of other brilliant members of the community. Ask some questions. If you've got any suggestions or feedback, put them in the group. We have some great discussions there as well. You don't have to chat though. You can just enjoy the free guides and other useful information available on our Facebook group. Good luck everybody. Looking forward to seeing you all over there and on the channel very soon. Take care. Bye for now.